Hey, welcome. Hope everybody's having a great Labor Day. It's Monday, so let's talk about the real estate market. Market Monday. Anyway, I hope everybody's having a day in which they are able to not labor, but real estate market isn't sleeping. Real estate market has been crazy the last year and a half since the world went nuts with Corona. So has the real estate market. And many of you know that, most of you know that. If you kept up with the news, the real estate market's been one of the things in our society that's gone absolutely crazy. And it's caused problems. It's caused issues not only for buyers, obviously, buyers having trouble buying a home, having to bid over asking price and go against multiple um, bidder, other people trying to buy the same home. It's been a crazy world, obviously, but there's also been issues for sellers, how to price your home, for instance. But another big thing that has come up in this market has been appraisals, and uh, usually buyers and sellers, it's an afterthought on the appraisal. It's kind of just one of the pieces, and it's not really considered necessarily when pricing your home, because you just think that you're going to price it right and it's going to appraise and all that, and in most cases that is the case. But in our market, it's been to the point where you have to consider, yes, I might can get this much money in on the contract on a piece of paper, but you might not be able to have it appraised for that amount. And so, what happens when a home appraises undervalued? So, you got a contract price here, and appraisal comes in here. Let's just go for an example, 10,000 below. So you got a contract price at 200, appraisal comes in at 190. What happens? Um, and some people know, some people don't. So here's just a little tip on real estate. So when that happens, the buyer is told first, because it's the buyer who's paying for um, the appraisal and for their lender, and so they get told, and they will then notify the seller, and that's like written in the contract, the ELREC, the Louisiana Real Estate Commission. It's paperwork that most real estate is done on. There's a whole little section, and you probably didn't even read it about the appraisal, but you typically have 3 to 5 days, depending on what your real estate agent put into that blank in there. But you usually have 3 to 5 days for to notify the seller, and then the seller has that same amount of time, usually 3 to 5 days, um, to decide how they're going to respond. And here's the situations that can happen. You can the buyer can just make up the difference. So the $10,000 in our example, we they could just come up with $10,000 out of their pocket, still buy the home for 200,000. It's not normal, but in our market, the last year or so, that has happened many times. Um, the other is the seller drops the selling price down to the appraisal price. So in this case, they would go down from 200 down to 190 and move forward. The other is to meet somewhere in the middle, um, and this has been also a common thing. If it were just a few $1,000, this isn't a huge deal either way most of the time. Um, but for most buyers, you don't want to buy a home that doesn't appraise, and so this becomes a much bigger issue other than money. And so in our market, there have been a lot of problems caused by the frenzy, not just for buyers, not just for sellers, but the whole industry, from appraisers to lenders to real estate agents like me. So, anyway, I hope you learned a little bit that, in case of a low appraisal, you kind of have some options there. And then obviously, the buyer is not locked in to having to buy that. So if the seller's not going to drop the selling price down to what they got the appraisal at, the buyer can walk away at that point. So they're not locked into the contract at that point. So anyway, hope you're having a great Labor Day weekend, and hope you didn't labor. This is my spot from beautiful Lake Claiborne, which is inside of Northeast Louisiana Realtor Association. So if you want a spot on Lake Claiborne, you want to come live the high life, you know, the 1970s trailer right there, baby. Yeah. But if you want to come live the high life, give me a call. All right, we'll see you.